Good morning, everyone, and welcome. We're glad that you're able to be with us today. We're glad that you found us. It's very interesting that some people who have wanted to learn more about our church have been joining us via Zoom. Today is a beautiful day. We open our eyes, we open our hearts, and we open our minds. May we be the vessels that bring forth joy and peace. May we celebrate our existence on this land that has been cared for by the Peoria Nations. And may we go forward with hope in our hearts. And now, Rev Dave, want to give us some announcements?
Thank you, Reverend Lynnda. These next 2 weeks are exciting time here for all of you of the Unitarian Universalist Church. Starting this week, our candidate, Reverend Jennifer, will be meeting with each of you in your committee meetings. Your committee chairs have sent out a schedule to you. Hopefully those of you have received that. If you have questions, you can contact the office regarding times and how to connect with Zoom. And those of you who don't have Zoom, you can call in, and a number has been provided for that as well. There will be no, for the next 2 weeks, no Joys and Sorrows on Wednesday evening, or Adult RE, or Coffee Chat with the ministers on Friday, so that this week you can meet Reverend Jennifer in your committee meetings, and next week you'll have an opportunity to meet in smaller clusters, and that schedule has also been sent out along with phone numbers for those of you who don't have an opportunity by way of computer or Zoom to connect. So please take advantage, and any of you who still have questions, please call the office or send an email into the office, and Jan will get to you as soon as possible. We started our annual campaign last week, and our campaign workers have been working really diligently. Many of you should have received this week in the mail a packet, and each of you will have an opportunity to be called by someone from the campaign. The theme of the campaign is Dawn of a New Day. And our original plan was we had hoped to do a drop, stop, and roll, but now our creative campaign team has come up with another way to do drop, stop, and roll. So let's take a look at a video produced by the campaign team.
The theme for our campaign this year is the dawn of a new day. So in case you're wondering how we're going to have a drop, stop, and roll, let me walk through what you can do. We can't gather together, but our annual campaign team has allowed for you to participate. First, you're in your car and you drive up to the church. Stop. And come over and see how wonderful the decorations are. Thank you for pledging. Even now we rise, and in this slot you drop off your pledge. Drop, stop, and roll. Please join us. Thank you for supporting the Peoria Church. Bye now.
So hopefully that crazy video gave you a laugh, but please take the opportunity to pledge. We need the funds in order to do what we need to do next year. Also, after the service today at 11:30, please join Reverend Lynnda and myself for coffee talk. And the link to that has been sent out to you. You can also on that call in as well. And now I'd like to introduce Barbara Peters, who will give our opening words.
Good morning. This is Barbara Peters from her home on the patio in Mesa, Arizona. Today's opening words are by Sweet Home Teacup, a yoga instructor based in Portland, Oregon. Being human means we are of this earth. May we recognize and abandon the familiar attitudes and practices that do not serve the whole. We are who we are, and we have the opportunity to be who we want to be, to create a new inheritance for the future. May our thoughts, words, and actions in our daily lives assist in dismantling paradigms of oppression and suffering. May we give thanks for our individual place in time and space, to our families and our relationships that touch and change us. May we give thanks to the wise teachers who help us remember how to be and the chance to make it so. Underneath and within these stories and histories of our humanity, being human means we are of the earth, we are these waters, we are fire, we are atmosphere, we are the sun and the moon and the stars. We are all that we see, and the wisdom is revealed by looking in between. Thank you.
Circle round for freedom, circle round for peace, for all of us imprisoned, circle for release, circle for the planet, circle for each soul, for the children of our children. Keep the circle whole. Circle round for freedom, circle round for peace, for all of us imprisoned, circle for release, circle for the planet, circle for each soul, for the children of our children. Keep the circle whole. Circle round for freedom, circle round for peace, for all of us imprisoned, circle for release, circle for the planet, circle for each soul, for the children of our children. Keep the circle whole.
And our chalice lighting for today is actually a Jewish prayer. Grant us the ability to find joy and strength, not in the strident call to arms, but in stretching out our arms to grasp our fellow creatures in striving for justice and truth. And now I'd like to introduce one of our favorite troubadours, Steve Fairbanks.
Here's a song called Mother Earth, written by Neil Young in 1990. Oh, Mother Earth, with your fields of green, once more lay down by the hungry hand. How long can you give receive and feed this world ruled by greed, and feed this world ruled by greed. Oh, ball of fire in the summer sky, your healing light, your parade of days, are they betrayed by the men of power who hold this world in their changing hands, who hold this world in their changing hands? Oh, freedom land, can you let this go? Down to the streets where the numbers grow. Respect Mother Earth and her giving ways, or trade away our children's days, or trade away our children's days. Peace out.
And now let's hear what some people feel is their favorite part of the service, the story for all ages, from our RE director, Amy Pop.
Good morning. If we were all at church together this morning, the teachers and students and youth would all be looking out at the snow and figuring out a way to still celebrate Earth Day and get outside to do the important jobs that we do each year to help the Earth. But even though we're not there in person, we can still be there in spirit. My story today tells of one boy who had a simple idea that could help the Earth. It is called butterfly wings. There are many scientific theories that discuss how the beat of one butterfly's wings can affect the outcome of something much larger, like a huge tornado. One young man, Benjamin Beetle, who was 8 or 9 at the time, found out how butterfly wings can affect, well, just about anything. He learned about the butterfly effect, and then he turned it around. He had the thought that if everyone you meet and see did one small thing to help the Earth, it would be like the beat of one butterfly's wings. And all of the bad that was happening could be turned to good. He got an idea. And in all 3'5" of himself, he climbed up on a table at church one Sunday morning during the children's circle. "Every day this next week," Benjamin said, "I challenge each of you to do at least one good thing to help the Earth. You have to write it down, and it has to be signed by an adult for proof. The person who has done the most good things to help the Earth will get my signed baseball from the Cubs 2016 World Series." Now, there was a lot of chatter because most of the kids didn't believe that Benjamin was possibly going to give up his signed baseball. But finally, they agreed. And the next Sunday, Benjamin Beetle wore the biggest smile as he carried in his signed baseball in its protective, clear case. And it was an exciting morning indeed. One boy brought in signed proof of 25 things he had done to heal the earth. Now, the Sunday school teacher thought nobody could beat that. But then shy Moonbeam McGill came up and gave the teacher her paper. And there were 35 items on her list, and all were signed by adults. Benjamin read aloud some of her list. Number 1, led a discussion on how families could save trees. Number 2, started sending her allowance to a no-kill animal shelter. Number 3, made posters for the school halls on shutting off water in the restrooms when you were done. 4, made flyers to take home to families that list ways to save energy. And so many more. Wow, exclaimed Benjamin. You did a lot of really cool things. How did you get all this done in just 1 week? Moonbeam smiled and said, just one thing at a time. Once I got going, it was really easy to keep going. Benjamin smiled and summed it all up by saying, the beat of one butterfly's wings really can be felt around the entire earth when each one of us takes care of our small part of it. So, now, I challenge each and every one of you to follow Benjamin's plan. This week, flap your butterfly wings and do something each day to help heal your own small part of the earth. It will be felt. So be it.
It's time for us to find out about some of the joys and sorrows in our church community. We heard last week that Pat Harris's son-in-law had a heart attack and was in a medically induced coma, and that has not changed. We also have had 2 deaths in our congregation. Gary Chatham's father passed away, and also Ken Du Bois, his father passed away also. We give our heartfelt condolences for the families and friends of all of these people. And we also want to be grateful for all that we have and for all that we do and all that we are, while also understanding that many people are not able to share their sorrows, and that in this time we have sorrows all around the world. We want to look forward to a brighter day. And our words of spoken meditation today are by Lynn Cox. Creative Spirit, source of light and love, we give thanks for the beauty of this day and for the company assembled here. Thank you for the breezes of change clearing our heads and bringing fresh ideas. May they cleanse our minds of the oppressions and isms that divide us. Thank you for the flame of hope, the heat of righteous anger, the war of compassion and the fire of commitment. May they bubble the cauldrons of transformation. Thank you for the oceans of love, rivers of connections, tears of relief, and pools of serenity. May healing waters flow over us and through us and among us, wearing down the sharp rocks of despair to bring joy in the morning. Thank you for the good earth beneath us, around us and within us. May we take this clay and co-create a new realm of justice and beauty. Thank you for all these things. We accept our gifts and commitment to building, sculpting, painting, singing, and dancing them to life, to abundant life. So be it. Blessed be. Amen. And if we could just take a few minutes of silence and meditation together. And now, I'd like to introduce Joyce Rosenberger, who's a very active member of this church.
Hello, everyone. I'm Joyce Rosenberger, a 30-year member of the UU Church of Peoria. When I moved to Peoria from Ohio, I searched for a church community with which I could be comfortable. The first time I visited the UU Church, then at the Hamilton Boulevard location, I found a welcoming home. And then a friend from the church contacted me about pledging. I was new to Peoria, new to my job, new to the church. Why would I want to pledge? But I was already knowing how much this church community meant to me. I wanted this church to be here in the future. I have never regretted that investment in the UU Church of Peoria. This church community has introduced me to many friends, offered support in challenging times, provided fun social gatherings, sponsored great learning opportunities including adult and children's RE, given me a safe community in which to rear my daughter, provided opportunities for social action, and offered regular times for my spiritual journey. There is no other investment I make which returns so much meaning to my life. Today, our world is faced with challenges we formerly thought could only have been either fiction or ancient history. Our beloved church is a stabilizing anchor amid the uncertainty we are experiencing. Again, I ask myself, why would I want to pledge? And again, I know that I want this church to be here in the future. I want it for myself and my family. I want it for our young people. I want it for my friends. I want it for the people who have not yet found this church, for people who look for diversity, who come from various backgrounds and viewpoints. I want it for the couples not yet married, for the children not yet born. I want it as we enter the exciting process of calling a settled minister. This church has a 177-year history. All through this history, people paid it forward. Individuals pledged and contributed to this church so that we today have this loving community and beautiful space. It is my turn to pay it forward. A pledge or contribution can be of whatever amount is within our means. Several political campaigns have shown that many small contributions add up to a lot. Your contribution is never too small. Now is our time to pay it forward. I have sent in my pledge. I hope you will too. Stay safe. Thanks.
Please join us for our offering. Our offering words today: we creatures of heart and habit are thrown out of our orbits by the strangeness of these times. Still, we are aware of those things that are important in our lives, even if they feel distant. We remember our love and care for our beloved church, its people, in our community ministries. We care enough to sustain the good that has been the hallmark of our past, and to give of our treasure so that our goodness lives into the future. And so now we ask you to make an offering today. And you can do that in one of several ways. You can write a check and send it in to us. You can make a financial pledge, go to our website and hit the donate button, or you can text by calling 833-484-0328, wait for the prompt, and follow the instructions. And we thank you for your generous support at this very important time in our church's history. Thank you.
Before I begin my sermon, I'd really like to thank those who have helped us so much giving you the service today. Thank you, Rosa, for your beautiful playing and for bringing us in to the Spirit. Steve Fairbanks, wonderful song. Thank you so much for saying yes. Barbara Peters, it's good to see you. You've been gone for some time. And now let's take kind of an unusual start to a Universalist Unitarian service by reading a Bible verse. It's Genesis 1:26, and this translation is from the English Standard Bible. Then God said, "Let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the birds of the heavens, and over the livestock, and over all the earth, and every creeping thing that creeps on earth." It seems to me that a lot of people who are in positions of power take that dominion clause very personally. And in the grand scheme of things, human beings in general feel that we are the rulers over all things animal and environmental. The Bible verse states clearly that we humans are not the creepy things, but I'm not always so certain of that. Here we are only a few days from Earth Day, 50th anniversary, which also brings us back 50 years away from an enormous oil spill off the coast of California. That disaster led to epic environmental activism and reform. Except it hasn't been enough, has it? And now we are going backwards. We have certainly, as human beings, been part of planetary systems that have wreaked havoc on planet Earth. At least that's what these major storms, raging fire, and pandemic feel like. We want the comforts and simplicity that technology and electricity and aviation have added to our lives, but we don't necessarily want to consider the burden they place on the Earth's ecosystems. As we shelter in place, we mourn for our freedom, our liberty. We look forward to the day when we are no longer plagued by this virus that has left many of us feeling afraid, fearful, vulnerable. We look forward to being together without restrictions, but there are things to consider now while we are still ensconced in our homes. Many of you have probably seen a message that's been posted on Facebook, but I'm going to read it anyway. The author is unknown, but their words are becoming legend. We are in the same boat. We are not all in the same storm. For some people, it's sprinkling. This is a break. It's a breather. It's a pause in the normal activities. It's time to reconnect with family and slow down. Honestly, for some, it's kind of peaceful. For some, it's a storm. It's scary. It's disruptive. It's enough to make you stay up and watch the news and worry. For some, it's a hurricane. It's tearing at the boards and pulling off the roof. It's washing them all out to sea. It's dark and unknown. It's life-changing. It's not wrong to be enjoying the sprinkles or enduring the storm, but please don't negate the differences. Rest with family, but don't minimize the hurricane engulfing your neighbor. Laugh at a meme, but get on your knees for a friend. Get in someone else's storm. So what does that mean, to get into someone else's storm? Especially now when it seems we have so little personal power. When we are part of someone else's liberty, their liberation from burdens holding them hostage, we ourselves are liberated. We are liberated from grief over the way others are treated and sorrow over the circumstances of other people's lives. We can loose the crick in our neck we get from looking away from those we consider other. And we can see better and breathe easier when we can pull our head out of the sand. Someone out there needs you. Yes, your family and our church need you. But what about those communities beyond our current personal sphere? Could you consider opening your expansive mind enough to broaden your social and justice circles to include people and concepts that are uncomfortable for you? Could you consider opening your ever-loving heart to a people or a cause that needs your strength? Could you consider whether there is enough stretch left in your loving arms to wrap them around someone or something that needs a boost? And yes, we will be able to hug each other again, or at least shoulder bump. That is how you get into someone else's storm. Many of us are already giving to organizations that we feel are good causes, but maybe there's a little room for something else. Have you discovered that you can live without things you used to do while you had the freedom to go about your business as you pleased? I'm not saying to give up Starbucks forever, but if you think about what you might have been spending but aren't now, could some of that be donated to causes like water protector support, NAACP membership and projects, and animal shelter? Is there time that you can provide to a cause? Maybe it's making phone calls for political candidates, even for ones that are not local or Illinois races, but critical to our country's welfare. Something you can do now and continue later. I'm sure there are other things that you're doing now that I've not mentioned, and maybe you can let me know. And I will gather that information and send it with a list of worthwhile activities and causes to members of the congregation. Thinking back to our opening words this morning by Sweet Home Teacup, and that name makes me smile every time. I think we have the encouragement that we need to not only get into someone else's storm, but also to be proponents of the tenets of Earth Day. The beginning of the reading goes like this. May we recognize and abandon the familiar attitudes and practices that do not serve the whole. We are who we are, and we have the opportunity to be who we want to be, to create a new inheritance in our future. An inheritance in our future. Our future is veiled, but full of promise. It cannot be known, but we can prepare for its challenges by working toward justice. We can extend our hands and our hearts to those who are in need of our support. We can be vehicles and vessels of peace, love, and light. May it be so. Our closing words today are by Starhawk. Earth Mother, Star Mother, you who are called 1,000 names, may all remember we are cells in your body and dance together. You are the grain and the loaf that sustains us each day. And as you are patient with your struggles to learn, so shall we be patient. So shall we be patient with ourselves and each other. We are radiant light and sacred dark, the balance. You are the embrace that heartens and the freedom beyond fear. Within you we are born, we grow, live and die. You bring us around the circle to rebirth. Within us you dance forever. May it be so.
Please join us for coffee hour. It starts at 11:30. The Zoom information has been sent out, but if you look at the slide, you'll see the information that you need and the number that you can call into. And please take advantage this week of joining and getting to know our candidate, Jennifer, in the committee meetings which are set up, and next week in the cottage meetings which have also been set up, so that you too can have an opportunity to chat with her, to meet her, to get to know her. And then on May the 3rd will be the annual meeting where her name will be presented, and each of you as members of this church will have an opportunity to vote one way or the other for her. So please take advantage. This is a wonderful opportunity. We look forward to it. Lynnda and I will be here taking care of pastoral care needs, but as far as anything else, this is your time these next 2 weeks to get to know your candidate. Thank you.